Shadow Extreme, sorry mate if you've been in and left. We're never ever early here, we're never on time here, we're very much a Gandalf kind of channel.
Ad hoc.
A wizard's never late, he arrives precisely when he means to. We'll be on shortly. Get the fireworks out, Steve.
Welcome on into this Monday's edition, or this week's edition of Entertainment News here at MBE. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel and of course our Twitch stream. I'm one of your co-hosts, Stephen John McLaughlin, our co-host.
The extra
John C.
from
Walsh.
Escape from Mars.
You killed it, John. You killed it. You killed my flow with that. Oh, some of the comments we get as well. God of War,
Fester's fucking love child.
God of War. Someone's calling you James McAvoy. You've got to. You've got to
I
take
get called
the good with
James
the bad.
McAvoy.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago when I had hair.
No, I think it was actually. I think it's Charles Xavier.
Yeah,
Actually
yeah.
said.
I
I
get
think
called.
he was meaning.
Yeah,
I don't think he was meaning Patrick Stewart one.
No, I fucking hope not. I've been told I look like James McAvoy back in the
See
day.
your belly.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
I love Patrick, but no, I don't look like Patrick. I don't look like Patrick. I don't look like James either.
So
Not now.
how's things anyway, John? Before
Fucking
we crack
fabulous,
on?
Stephen. Still
Fantabulous.
fighting a head cold, chest infection.
Yep.
Very much on the ibuprofen and the paracetamol. It's more nose centric now.
Yeah, it's
So
murder.
it sounds like I'm dying, but I'm really actually all right.
Yeah,
Really actually.
probably blame my daughter for that. She's probably the carrier for that one, but the joys of
Listen,
kids.
it hardens you.
It does.
It
Yeah.
hardens you up.
I'd
You
rather
need
get it now. You get all toughened
Yeah,
up
exactly.
for the winter. The proper
You need an
winter,
illness.
Yeah.
to just give the immune system a little boot in the bollocks, as we like to say. Kick it into rhythm, if you like, for the winter,
Yeah.
when the real McCoys of the actual viruses and whatnot start hitting. I digress.
John, we've got a mixed bag tonight. We're going to be talking about some Indian film news. We're going to be talking about some music news and some
Wow.
box office and some gaming news as well. But we're going to kick off with obviously our headline and what you can see in our thumbnail. If you click on to this this video, folks, it's all about Hrithik Roshan sharing his admiration for Stree 2. I don't know why I'm talking like this. I'm sounding like a DJ, but get out of that mode now.
Someone's stole my joint. Someone stole my joint, man. That was that fucking Westwood back in the day. We don't mention his name now.
I did listen to our first podcast, John.
How far away am I?
Talking
Holy fuck.
about joints. You sounded like you were on one.
Yeah. I was
in our
depressed.
first ever episode.
Sheer terror.
You were no, you were. You didn't sound it. That's what I'm saying.
No,
You
it
sounded
wasn't.
so laid back. It was
Yeah, I
unbelievable.
know. Yeah, but
Um,
it was depression level. It was like someone had spiked my drinks with fucking antidepressants to take the edge off. Well, I mean, I've always maintained antidepressants are a dangerous business. I've never had depression,
Yeah.
I have to say. So I've got no business speaking about it, but I have heard other people who very much have suffered from depression state that antidepressants dilute the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
You're just somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle, yeah.
Somewhere, did I say? Somewhere in the middle. And that's where I was in that show. I was neither euphoric or fucking fraught with anxiety and terror. I was in the middle. Someone spiked my drink.
I was the opposite, and it sounded like
The movie burner hour.
for people that didn't know us would probably think he's making him do this.
The movie burner hour.
He's making that young fella do this.
And we spoke about fucking Batman v Superman. Wow,
Yeah.
we were excited for it.
Yeah, Justice League. Yeah, yeah.
It was Justice League, yeah, it was.
And we did a little bit on Andy Serkis as well, as I recall.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Star
You
Wars.
did one in your reviews, so
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
think I went home at that point because it wasn't my review.
Just cutting. Cut. That was Jim Carrey. Cut. I kept going back to liar. Again.
We'll release
and
this
again,
someday, folks,
and again.
so you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, they're off. They're off then.
It was
aren't
our
they now?
first ever podcast we did, and it is on YouTube. It is
They're
behind
unlisted.
closed doors,
Yeah.
so,
I removed them.
and it will remain there for the foreseeable future. We might
Still got
put them out.
the first reaction over Stephen's. Well, Stephen's very much normal height in the first one.
Yeah.
The second one, Stephen shrunk about 10 inches.
I don't know what that was all about.
We changed
Yeah.
seats for some reason. We thought the seats meant something.
Everyone that we
That's
talk
the-
to now, we'll show them one of those videos and they'll come back and they'll compare it to now and they'll go, these guys have came a long way. And I think so.
I hope.
Yeah, I would hope so.
They don't, then
I would
we're in
hope so.
fucking trouble.
But John, it's an exciting development for Indian cinema. Actor Hrithik Roshan has shared his admiration for Stree
Yes,
2.
he has.
Just days after the film broke records to become the highest grossing
that website.
Hindi movie in
Take it away.
India. Posting on X, Hrithik described this moment as a happy time for our cinema. He praised the original Stree from 2018 as brilliant and lauded the sequel for being applause worthy. In his note, Hrithik expressed his appreciation for the creative journey behind the franchise, saying it's such a happy time for our cinema with Stree 2 setting new benchmarks for all of us to look up to. Stree Part 1 was brilliant, and the idea of taking that seed and building a universe, watching it all come together in Stree 2 is applause worthy. Bravo to the team that brought this to celluloid. That's a great quote, John.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy. I mean, we've already
Geo
watched.
Studios, we've watched a few things with them, haven't
Yeah, we've only seen one of his films, though, haven't we? War.
we? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it was very good.
Yeah,
Him and Tiger
Yeah,
Shroff.
we're going to have to go down a journey with his films, and I know a lot of people have been recommending these films, so at some point we'll have to, because I thoroughly enjoyed that film. I really did.
Maybe positioning himself for a potential appearance in a third Stree. I've
Could
not
be,
seen the
yeah.
second Stree or the first Stree, so I can't
Yeah.
possibly say with any degree of confidence whether they've left it open-ended.
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
I think Sharrock's trying to get his way in there as well. We were talking about this obviously 3 weeks ago, John,
Yeah.
if he was praising the main star, the
Yeah.
main actor of the series as well. So it's great to see obviously these established actors coming in and praising this film, and by all accounts it's broke records. You know,
I mean, it's
the
impressive,
highest
Stephen,
grossing.
for a sequel
Yeah.
to become the highest grossing Hindi movie of all time.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm reading? It is, isn't
Yep.
it? Yeah, I've
Yeah.
not misread that.
Yep.
Stree 2, I'm going to look up the box office and see what it is in terms of worldwide, if we can get some information on that, because that'd be cool to see. Don't seem to be getting it. Let's go to Box Office Mojo, shall we? Because they are the best website on planet Earth for box office
Yeah.
information. Worldwide, they're saying $7.1 million, which, to be fair, Stephen, I'm not fully versed in the sort of conversion and what obviously that equals to, and obviously rupees and
Yeah.
whatnot, and in terms, not just about like for like what it equals, that's $7 million. Obviously, it's different. I mean, I watched Dale Phillip and I've been watching him recently again, and you go over to India, he's buying things for like 50 rupees.
Yeah.
It's like 50, it's like £1 or something, not even that. And he's able to eat a meal for like 50 rupees. He's getting like fucking rides on a what do you call it, a rickshaw for like 80 rupees. So, I mean, it's completely different. The
Yeah.
way it converts into the actual lifestyle, what you're able to
Cost of
buy,
living, yeah.
cost
Yeah.
of living and
Yeah.
whatnot in India, it's completely different. So I don't know if that's accurate information from Box Office
Well, I think
Mojo.
that's from an American perspective, isn't it? When they say domestic, it's American.
That's still pretty impressive.
That is very impressive indeed. Yeah.
$2.5 million is
International
very
is,
impressive.
can be a little bit more vague because that's not predominantly just India. I mean, it will be predominantly India, sorry, but obviously there'll be stragglers
Yeah,
across the world. But 666 theatres this film was released.
and that's
in.
just in the States.
Yeah.
That's domestic.
Yeah.
Because that's equating for
pretty
the
good,
$2.57 million dollars. But it's very, very impressive, man, for a sequel to be making that kind of money. It just shows you, Stephen, that hope is not lost for the north of India in terms of filmmaking, because we spoke many times during the COVID days
Yep.
when there was a lot of praise being heaped, and it continues to be heaped on the south of India, the Telugu and Tamil industries in particular. I know Malayalam and whatnot, and Kannada are also very impressive. I think Tamil, Nadu and the Telugu industries, I'm not going to, is it Tollywood and Collywood? I don't want to commit in case I make an arse of it. They've seen a lot of success with the likes of Talapathy, Tala Ajif, Alu Arjun, guys like that. Obviously, Prabhas and SS Rajamouli hailing from those regions. There was a lot of talk 3-4 years ago, 2-3 years ago, of them carrying Indian cinema and how they were leaving the north of India behind in their wake, if you like. And it just they were more adventurous, they were taking more risks, the writing was better.
Yeah.
And I don't know what we said at the time. I don't want to go back. But it's good to see the north of India. And I presume Stree 2 is a North Indian release. I'm pretty sure it is, because it's Hindi.
Yeah.
It's great to see them sort of bouncing back like a punch-drunk boxer finally and saying, nope, bitches, we've been around for a long time. We are respected all around the world.
Yeah.
We're going to start releasing some great films as well.
John, we've only saw the trailer at the moment. We will watch these films, but
They look cool, man. I like the trailer. It looked
very
really
Shaun of the
interesting.
Dead, aren't they?
Yeah.
In terms of Edgar Wright style of comedy and horror comedy, that was what I was wanted to talk about. Just 2.5 hours. This film lasts for horror comedy, and it's good to see that genres. I call it a genre. Horror comedy is one. It's not both. It's one. There is a thing called that. There's enough content out there.
Subgenre.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I think it's great for that genre because I think it's just a nice blend. Because something about horror that mixes up the emotions, or something about comedy, it's total opposite
dark
of
comedy
that.
as well.
So it kind of keeps you on your toes all the time. You know, when you get some shocking moments, and then it brings you back down with some comedy moments, and then it gets back into the horror again. I love that. It's like a roller coaster ride.
I mean, we've seen it with Kill Steve, which we're putting out as a reaction just now. It wasn't a horror, but a lot of people would find horror in a lot of the kills and the violence and the gore in that film. But there's a lot of comedy interspersed in the midst of the violence and the killings. So it's always been two genres that belong together. I always think of Scream and stuff like that. Very comedic films, despite the killing.
Satirical,
and just the killer. It's like playing into that whole laddie kind of comedy back for maybe
it's
not
very
lad.
self-aware,
What there was a name for it, wasn't there? It's like the sort of brat. There's a name for it. Frat guys.
The
Early
Rat
2000s.
Oh, the early 2000s.
Yeah, you're talking about like kind of frat parties where it's like, what's up? Hey, dude. Yeah, man. Stuff like that. Ashton Kutcher, guys like that. The fucking guy from Stifler. That kind of stuff. That just typified. Scream was slightly before that, to be fair. Maybe not. Maybe around about the same time. But it just typified that kind of teenage dirtbag, kind of blending that with comedy and then horror. So it's always been something that's belonged for me. And I've always found great humour in horror anyway. I'm quite twisted and sadistic at times, so when I see people getting their heads caved in with fire extinguishers and whatnot, I'll laugh at that because I'm
nowadays
not
as
wired
well,
right.
I think generations coming up as well are a little bit more streetwise when it comes to horror, John, rather than myself. When I was growing up, I was terrified obviously of Michael Myers. I showed my daughter, who's only 11, I didn't show her the film, but it was a clip where obviously from the original Halloween film where Laurie is walking down the street with friends and Michael appears from a bush in the middle of the street in the middle of daylight, and my daughter just sniggered. She just laughed as if, what a weirdo. It's just a different kettle of fish now.
She'd look at it differently if she's seen the film, I'm guaranteeing you.
Yeah, probably, It's just a funny moment.
If you see him in a fucking cupboard in a darkened room, it changes the game. That guy haunted me, and I'm still haunted. There's still moments where I open up cupboards and I'm like, fucking please don't be in here.
Yeah.
Big 6'8" monster in a boiler suit with William Shatner's. I'm going to say it again, death mask. It's not a death mask, but mask.
Yeah.
It's like a latex shat mask. Haunted me. But even Steve, even those films would have had elements of comedy in there, unwitting, not deliberate, and you laugh at it. And certainly the later Halloween movies were fucking hilarious to me because they were so bad.
You reviewed a
Let's
few of them.
decapitate him. And he's back again. How does that look? I don't know.
Talking about the recent ones.
Oh yeah, I was talking about H2O, but those as well. Shambles. But yeah, I'm just looking at some of the reviews here, and it seems to be mostly positive. Some people are saying worst movie, nothing to anticipate, but that's your typical. Look, we've seen this with Indian audiences when we react to something. They're very, very tribalistic, and if they don't like one element of the production, be it the director, the story they're trying to convey, an actor, they're just boom on it, shitting on it from a great height, saying it's the worst thing ever made. It's terrible.
Watching it.
I mean, the truth probably lies somewhere in between. It's probably not the worst movie ever made. That definitely is Phoenix Forgotten. There's other ones in there, believe me, The Fanatic. But yeah, just see, even the main people, I mean, they're mostly positive. There's a couple of ones in there, more bemusing than petrifying. But again, Steve, this is the problem you're going to face when you're dealing with horror. And always maintain horror's not for critics. They don't get that genre. They're more about the drama-driven stuff of human condition stories that are baiting awards. They don't. That's not for them. Action and comedy isn't for them.
Comic book.
It's very much that kind of paraplegic story, rags to riches story, something that will bait for a big fat guy stuck in a house story, or a biopic or something. That's what they get their rocks off in. They don't really go for this. And the fact it's a sequel as well.
Yeah.
But even then, 67% of them have rated it positively. So it's not too fucking bad. 90% of the actual
We'll
audience.
be there one day, John, reviewing this, and we'll give our own
And I'd rate
thoughts
it
on
positively if I liked it, because I have no agenda. Like some
that's
people.
it, you know, and it's one of those ones that we kind of missed the bus on the first movie, so we were very aware of the second film when it came out because we've been following trailers for so long now. But obviously, 2018 was before we started our Indian journey, so we totally missed the bus on that. But we certainly will go back and watch these films because it's a genre we both enjoy, John. It's a genre we both get a lot out of as well, from the horror perspective and the comedy perspective as well. And we both like gore. You know, we can appreciate it if it's done tastefully.
Yeah.
And in comedy, in horror comedy, it normally is exaggerated. We've seen it, as I mentioned, obviously Edgar Wright's films, where it's over the top in terms of gore and stuff. I'm not saying this film's got any gore in it. I don't know. I've not seen it. So
No, but from the trailer, it did look quite. It was kind of La Llorona type thing, where it's this sort of witchy kind of, I don't know, character floating about, and it looked interesting.
yeah,
I mean, I thought it looked decent. The cast looked great. Looked like, I mean, I've not seen the first one, so it was a strange thing to do, not react on the first one and then go into Stree 2, but people were asking us to do it, so we did it.
Yeah.
We don't question, we just do it. Your wish is your command and all that jazz. But it looked as though it was building on something, and look, again, Hrithik is confirming that it built on an excellent first film, and it's just, they're building a universe. And we've seen this done in horror. We've seen it with James Wan,
yeah,
The Conjuring. They build out. We've got 3 Conjuring movies now, multiple Annabelles. I'm not really a fan of them, but I digress.
Nun one of them as
The
well?
Nun,
Yeah.
I think there's 2 Nun movies
Yeah.
potentially. So they've built a universe.
Yeah.
So I commend them, man. If they've got the talent there, they've got the desire, and there's a.
And from Hrithik's comments, it looks like that's what they're doing here as well with this. John, they're building out the way.
And they're getting respect from Shah Rukh and Hrithik. These are big names in the north of India. So what's to say that they'll not potentially appear in a spin-off or something set in this universe, and that ups the ante again.
That's the thing just now, isn't it? The universe films.
Is it? And is it actually true that it is the top grossing Hindi? Because there's been a lot of fucking massive movies come out, man.
Ever.
In India, just in India though.
Yeah.
Just,
Well, I mean, that's what it's Indian news we're doing.
Yeah,
so
I'm just wondering if they're playing.
I know what you
they're
mean
sort of
now,
playing with the word to fit it in.
Well, it says in India, so I would assume it's obviously.
Well, I mean,
records in
that's
India,
the primary audience. Yeah.
which matters the most, I suppose.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I like to see a film, particularly a foreign film, from our perspective, doing well in the West as well, John, because we've been sort of beating the drum for years now, and I think throughout our lives we've been watching a lot of foreign films, whether it be in Far East or India, in Europe as well, German films that we both enjoy, French, Italian. So it's always good to see the outsiders showing appreciation for a particular film. And if you're getting those reviews, which we just saw obviously in Rotten Tomatoes, from people in the US basically saying that they thoroughly enjoyed it, then I'm not saying that they need validation or anything like that, but from our perspective, it's always good to see, because then it's just it's an appreciation more than anything. So, and there's other people like us out there.
Yeah.
We do see a lot of YouTubers that
But
are
we've seen
like
it, Steve. We've
ourselves.
seen it with TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival. It's starting to get real light shone upon it. The Indian sort of industries and films coming out of that country are now starting to get real attention in the West. And again, they don't need validation, like you said, Stephen, but it's always good to be appreciated, and it's always good to have a wider audience, because ultimately you're going to have more money if you're connecting to other regions on the earth. And you want more money. You want to be able to grow the industry, line these people's pockets, because they're working blood, sweat and tears to make these movies a thing. And ultimately we've seen it, the positivity of having, or the positives of having more limelight, more interest in regional areas of India and in their filmmaking,
Yep.
how it's up the levels of technical stuff, production, everything, and they're now really slick, modern kind of films. I'm not shitting on movies from 20 years ago from Tamil Nadu and Telugu regions, but they were very tailored for the local people, and they were very much lower quality in terms of a visual.
Yeah,
The
there was
stories
no
and the
investment,
acting still there, visually and technically miles off of Hollywood. Now, more people watching, more interest from the likes of France and Singapore, America, Britain, everywhere, and they're getting more money, and it's also a knock on. The movies are better looking.
Well, that a lot of actors, John, have took the decision to become pan-Indian superstars as well, you know, and sort of spread that sort of word out a little bit more to the other regions.
But you think, Stephen, that it's maybe a knock-on effect of just technology now, where we've came in the last 20, 30 years, that maybe like 30, 40, 50 years ago, people from the north and different regions of India wouldn't have been able to get access to content from great actors way down in the south or way up in the north. They wouldn't, or in the east or the west. It's a huge fucking country, man. It's a subcontinent. I think people forget at times just how big it is. So I often just zoom in Google Maps, and it's fucking massive.
Scotland's a drop in the ocean.
It's a tiny, tiny little country compared to India.
Yeah.
Maybe just a technical or a technological limitation back in the day. Now you've got access to TikTok, social media, YouTube, just more information at your fingertips. People can see a telepathy or a VJ-cephalopathy.
I can speak with some authority here through Anamia because I had a conversation with her in terms of the technology in India at the time when she was growing up in the early 2000s. That's when they first got their internet and obviously her household. And I think she's going to kill me for this. She was Googling Iglesias, what was his name again?
Enrico.
A lot of his images at the time.
Is it Enrico?
Yeah, Enrico. Yeah,
Enrico Iglesias.
Sorry about that, Anamia, but
what was that song he did again?
The point being, hero.
Yeah. I can be a hero, baby. I can take away your pain. I will stand by you forever.
But the point being, that I think the technology at that time in the early 2000s was probably our technology in the sort of early 1990s. So from Scotland, I'm saying I'm not talking about anywhere else. But
our internet was atrocious in the 90s, Stephen.
We're still behind in terms of technology and certain things, but still. And I think
China's
I think it is, John. But I think in certain parts, I would say that's where the talent came through in terms of the writing. We talk about obviously Star Trek, John.
Yeah,
they had to rely heavily on very good writers and very good actors.
Yeah,
to sort of carry the story. And you saw that in a lot of those films in the early 1990s and through to the sort of late 90s. You know, as late as that. So I think technology is assisted in a way, and certainly it gives writers and creators that bit more freedom to sort of branch out. You've got your limitations, obviously, with budgets and stuff like that and technology at that point. So your writing has to be very constrained, unfortunately, and you can't be as adventurous, you can't be as creative. You can only work with the tools you're given, I suppose.
And
but
also
now
the downside to that, Stephen, is if you've got more money coming in, then there's more pressure to sustain that level of sort of success. We've seen that with Disney and how that can damage sort of imagination and innovation in filmmaking and films and scripts. You stagnate and you end up with the same old shit. You
don't get lazy,
regurgitated.
That's the key.
So again, that's really pertinent to this because this is a sequel. It can be easy to just keep churning out shite movies because we've had success financially and critically with the first two. It's really important when you're doing this kind of thing that you've got a plan envisaged for 10 years or whatever, because we've seen that with Kevin Feige and Marvel. They had a clear plan for the Infinity Saga mapped out. They'd sort of rough versions of the Avengers movies way in advance. They were able to see that through to the end because of just a clear idea and brilliance behind the scenes. But if you've not got that and it's ad hoc and you're just throwing shit at a wall, people will see through it, man, and it'll fail very quickly.
Yeah, it's happened with Star Wars.
Exactly. And it's happened with other franchises. Predator.
That's it. They just
Alien.
They have an idea and they don't follow it through. They don't have a bigger picture. It's just contained into that one film. We'll worry about a sequel if this one's successful. That's the kind of sort of short-sightedness.
Jumanji. First one. I loved the first one, 95. Alan Parrish, late great Robin Williams. Second one, Welcome to the Jungle, I think it was. Great concept. Immediately greenlit a sequel. Nowhere near as good.
Yeah.
Nowhere near as good.
Yeah.
It was already overdone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So great to see the success. Brilliant to see financial success. Great to see interest from further afield again. Great to see these big mega stars who don't have to go out the way to throw or heap praise on things doing
I'm
it.
sort of concerned about that though, John, that the third one will be a sort of showbiz event for a lot of. We went to see Goldmember back in the day, and they kind of did this sort of satirical version of Austin Powers 3, the movie with Tom Cruise playing Austin Powers.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't want to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to see SRK popping up and winking at the camera type thing. I don't oversaturate with big stars. I think the formula, stick to the writing that's made the success of the first two films and continue that into the third film.
Exactly. Hrithik needs to come back for War, by the way. When's War 2 happening? Yeah. We need to see that. Because that War film, which is weird to say because it's technically the Tiger universe, but War's the best fucking one.
It was a great film.
I really the second best. I think I said Tigers in the High was the best.
Was War the one with
Tiger Shroff?
Shroff, yeah.
Obviously the swapping of the face and whatnot. It's a really good. The one that ended up in fucking like the North Pole or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were driving across the ice. Yeah,
church or something. They ended up. I mean, it was really good.
Like
it was a really good film.
Advert,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was Audi's, wasn't it? Yeah, but it was a good film. And those two were brilliant. Yeah. And Hrithik, it was the first Hrithik film we watched. Very charismatic, fucking handsome, chiseled guy. Clearly see why he's been hugely successful over the years. Multitude of reasons, can dance, can act, can do everything. Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't be adverse to seeing a guy stepping into this kind of franchise if he wanted to, if they've got a fucking clear idea and it's required. Yeah. If it ain't, no, just stick with these guys that have made it great.
I've never been to the Bahamas, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Akshi's in there. Yeah. What more do you want? Yeah. Akshi's a fucking superstar. Yeah. Raj Kumar Rao, that was a guy, wasn't it?
That was a fella guy, SRK was praising, yeah. I don't know too much about him, John. I know he's in that Stree movie, and I don't know too much about him.
He reacted by the die though?
Probably.
Rings a bell.
It does ring a bell, yeah.
Certainly that logo rings a bell.
Yeah. 2022, a couple of years ago. But might have done it. Yeah, we were doing quite a lot of trailers at that time, yeah. Yeah. He looks familiar. He does look familiar. But it's probably from that other film. Yeah.
The Unnamed Witch. It was a witch. Fucking in there. Yes. Kind of La Llorona. I get La Llorona vibes from that villain.
Yeah.
Again, skin's just, I mean, I'm going off and
tangents. Is he in it as well? Yeah. Yeah.
Pancake, yeah. I remember him. Yeah.
I don't know the rest of them.
Just looking at her skin, it's fucking flawless.
Yeah.
Raging. Born same year as me, looks much better than me, I have to say. It's your secret. Yeah. I'd love to ask her.
But we're going to move on to
Not saying I look fucking haggard, by the way. I've got all right skin, I have to say.
But before we do, folks, have you seen Stree or Stree 2? Have you seen both of them? Let us know in the comment section. Let us know your thoughts. Did you like the film? Did you not like the film? Is it worth the title of the highest grossing Indian film in India? in Hindi?
In the Hindi regions in India.
To be precise, which street?
Norfolk's.
We're going to
best most successful DJ in Norfolk, in the United Kingdom, in Norfolk, in a specific area of Norfolk for a tiny bit. Okay, so it's just he's not the most successful fucking DJ then. You're talking shit.
John,
I'm not sure I'm having that headline, but yeah. I think they're at it. I've seen the likes of Jawan and Patan come out, and I'm like, really, that's done better. But look, if it has, fair play.
Yeah, music news now.
Share your thoughts.
We're going to be talking about Oasis, John. And Oasis, we were talking about a few weeks ago. Obviously, the reunion was all the buzz at the time. Oasis Live 25 tour. We didn't get tickets, folks. John tried his best.
I was up at the crack of dawn.
Yep, and
Eyes are still sore from it.
Oasis
it's not a crack of dawn. It's a normal time for people.
Reportedly in talks to produce a documentary capturing the long-awaited reunion of the iconic band just ahead of their upcoming Oasis Live 25 tour. This documentary is set to chronicle the band's journey with a special focus on the reconciliation of the Strange brothers Liam and Noel Gallagher, with a major UK and Ireland tour planned for next year. Fans can look forward to seeing the much anticipated reunion, not only live on stage, also documented on screen. This is the thing that I wanted to see, John.
Yeah.
And obviously the sort of backdraft of that big news that came out a month ago, I was looking for them being on chat shows, but I was being very naive. I'm not going to talk about this right away, but they will eventually appear on your Graham Nortons and your Jonathan Ross, etc., and they will talk about this, because I'm very intrigued to find out. You mentioned it, John, when we talked about it last time, that it was late night phone calls the two of them were having. Just reconnecting with each other as brothers more than anything, not as superstars in a big group or anything like that, but as brothers. They were talking like two normal guys try to reconnect with each other after obviously a 16-year absence. That's what I want to see. I want to see both of them talk about this. I've not seen anything online about it yet, probably because it's can make them a lot of money with the exclusives. I'm not going to just sell this story very short. So what do you think of this, John? I want to see some kind of behind-the-scenes stuff, obviously, because we're not going to get to see this. It's not going to be televised, but perhaps maybe...
I'm still hoping it will be.
Behind-the-scenes stuff. You know, behind, obviously, the stage. I
just feel like they'd be fools not to at least put it on box office or something, pay-per-view. Allow you to watch it live in London or Manchester. I feel like that would be a really idiotic decision, because you could make an absolute mint. I mean, they've made about, I think they were predicting 400 million from ticket sales in the initial sort of dates. Why not put it out? You've made the money. The buzz is there. Why not give people who were not fortunate enough to be there the opportunity to watch it live? Such an iconic moment for music. These two getting back together, just the gang getting back together, Bonehead and what was the other? Was it Chris, the drummer?
Yeah, I can't remember his
second name. His second name.
He was in BDI and he was in obviously the Flying Birds as well, wasn't that drummer? It was, and so was Game Archer.
And Game's back, isn't he? Game is in there as well. It's going to be interesting just to see that, just how they work that out, that dynamic. Who's playing bass, who's playing guitars and whatnot, because Game's kind of felt in for Noel in BDI. Is he going to do like the Pat Smear role? Because Bonehead was usually the rhythm, wasn't he?
He was rhythm.
Noel was the...
Game kind of replaced Bonehead.
Oh, he was Bonehead, and then he replaced Noel.
Andy Bell. Who was actually the guitarist in his own band. I can't remember who they were at top of my head. But
there was a guy
he had to learn bass to join Oasis, because Noel wasn't going to.
I'll tell you what, Liam was performing at the Anthony Joshua fight the other night. His vocals weren't phenomenal, but you expect that. He's not 22 anymore. And they're never going to be 94, 95. But I was blown away by the actual the instrumental stuff. The guitarist, I don't know who it was playing on a sort of custom Gibson. It was pretty fucking good. I don't know if that's, I doubt it. I think it'll be Bonehead, it'll be Game, it'll be probably Bonehead on bass. But I digress, man. That's neither here nor there. Stephen, I'll just be amazed if these two actually make it in one piece too next year. Still talking.
I hope so,
and we actually get this sort of reunion tour. I'm still in the back of my mind seeing them.
Liam's going to say something.
Battering hell out of each other and it all ending in tears before a single gig happens. But if it does, then this is a great idea, man. You can't beat a good documentary at the best of times on any band, on any sort of tour. I mean, it's just great to see behind the scenes, the sort of, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the best word here. The inner workings of a tour and how it all comes together. It's a real team, an army of people, the stage and putting it all together, the sound design and just the timing to get them there and then being on the stage with them and living that buzz. I've seen multiple fucking documentaries like that, the Foo Fighters and other bands. So it's always good no matter what, but when you're talking about Oasis after nigh on the guts of a decade and a half being apart, these two very fiery individuals, two godlike, as they would probably call themselves, geniuses, together in a room again, that is going to be fucking dynamite if they can capture it. And you can totally understand why Prime, Netflix and Apple TV Plus are battling it out.
John, it's interesting that it does say that, according to an insider who spoke to The Sun. Apple TV Plus bosses are reportedly vying to capture the brothers in the run-up to their trek next summer in a documentary similar to the Beatles' Get Back, which showed the making of the iconic band's 1970 album Let It Be. The difference in that, John, is that the Beatles were doing everything from scratch. The Oasis aren't doing that.
No.
They've already confirmed they're not doing any new material. There's no new album on the horizon or single. It's all going to be their back catalogue. So I don't know how you can compare it to that, because we saw these films, these songs flourish within that documentary. We saw Get Back from Paul McCartney just strumming on his bass and what it
That's right,
became.
yeah.
Just as one example, we're not going to see that. What we probably will see is obviously a lot of rehearsals and banter and stuff like that between them.
Yeah, I mean, you could just capture the energy just even of being there in the moment with them, because that's what I took away. It wasn't so much the constructing of the songs and bringing the album together. I've seen that done before via snippets and little bits of songs and rehearsals, audio and video on YouTube for years and years. It was brilliant to see it all brought together as a whole and just given unbelievable treatment from Jackson and obviously his team, polished to the point where it could have been filmed fucking a week prior instead of
incredible.
50 years. But it was more about the energy and being in a room with them. That's what I took away. I was buzzing coming home from work every night, knew one had dropped. I've checked the running time, it's like 2 hours or whatever it was. I'm like, fucking hell. They're just sitting
Great
here
times.
with these guys, and not just the band, but the actual peripheral figures in a room with them. You felt like you were there with them. That's what I took out of it. So if you can capture a similar vibe and energy with Oasis, where you're almost sitting in the room with Noel and Liam and obviously Bonehead and all the other people, living this tour, I would love them to just journey through all the different. I don't want it to be one night. I want it to be the whole fucking tour, because I've seen it spoken about before. I can't remember whether it was Oasis or whether it was actually Nirvana. I was watching a great documentary with, not documentary, it was an interview with Conan O'Brien, Chris Novoselic, Dave Grohl, and it was the producer on the first or the second album, In Utero, and they were talking about prank calls and whatnot, but they were talking about the gigging and how they get panned with critiques who'd turn up after the first night or the second night. And apparently I think it was who was it that took it to heart? It wasn't Dave, it might have been Kurt, but one of them took it to heart anyway, and the producer says, look, fucking don't listen to that nonsense. It may be actually another act, a singer or whatnot, says don't listen. Anyone that knows anything knows that it takes a couple of nights to get your shit together, to get into rhythm. Seen it spoken about with the Stones as well. Their recent tour took them a couple of nights to get back into the rhythm. So I'd like to see that captured. Maybe not constructing a new album and original songs, but just seeing them getting back together, try to get back into the rhythm, how long it takes, how many nights. So I don't want it to be one night, I want it to be the whole fucking tour and capture the best bits.
I'm glad
without disrupting the energy and making it unnatural, because you want them to maintain that natural vibe. You want it to feel organic.
The sort of purpose of this is for generations that missed them as well. So it's only natural they're going to relive those songs again and bring them into obviously this generation's ears. And I don't mind that, because I was watching a documentary about Noel the other day, talking about Be Here Now. He says it was the worst thing they did. He says, in terms of obviously that moment in his life, it was the best time of his life. He said it was just an absolute a riot. It just had such a laugh. But in terms of that album, he says we should have just backed off for a few more years, let What's the Story run its course, fade away before we went back in. But they went from What's the Story into a big tour and then right into the album. And overproduced. Songs were too long, that kind of thing. So that's the pressure of being obviously a success. So I don't want them to get into a new album on the back of this pressure. Let them do this. They need to exercise all the demons in this tour and straighten a lot out in terms of relationships and get back to, obviously being the best band in the world, which they were for a period of time.
They were.
And that phenomenon. Was, people used to laugh at Noel and Liam saying that, but you look around at the bands at the time, there was
nothing been like them since. So there's been nothing.
So in terms of that, I'm glad that they're just sticking to that focus. They're sticking to the live stuff at the moment. It always intrigued me when the Beatles were talking about it as like solo artists throughout the 70s. What would be if they were to come back? John Lennon said it would probably be in the studio rather than like a stage show, like a live concert, he was meaning. And I always thought, well, it's good I don't try and do too many things, because there's a lot of pressure and a lot of expectation as well in a new album, certainly for a band like Oasis, because they're only going to compare to their earlier work. They always have, to be fair, when the sort of changed in the sort of early 2000s, the lineup changed, there was always that comparison with the old Oasis and the new Oasis and the albums, etc., and the singles. I think it's very unfair. Bands are naturally going to progress. They're going to change and they're going to evolve with the music they're playing.
Life
And
experiences change as well, and that affects the writing
yeah.
and what you're singing about. You can't sing about being poor.
I will say though,
Kicking about
Council
Manchester.
Skies was a fantastic album, John.
Yeah, it was
really good
there's
album.
still
It really,
moments.
that was writing from probably the mid 90s. I felt the quality of the writing and what he was writing about.
There was a great documentary that
Yeah.
may have been about that album with Noel in the studio. And it was an older guy playing lead guitar, and it was just brilliant watching them putting the song together. Just give him little tidbits there.
Yeah.
I would like you to change that. And went in and knocked the solo out. It was just brilliant seeing him behind the scenes, very relaxed in the studio, putting the songs together. So he's got that way about him in front of a camera. No, he's great to watch and listen to. He's a very clever guy, very charismatic guy, very funny guy, very cutting guy. Liam is kind of those things as well. Maybe not as clever as Noel, but
he brings the energy.
Yeah. So just seeing these different personalities, it's going to be great. It's definitely the right decision to make a documentary. Yeah. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity to capture this moment. You're never going to get a chance again. I just hope it is a full tour sort of thing, and then they can cut it back. I mean, you can never have too much footage. Yeah. You can capture like 800 hours of footage or whatever, what they had, crazy amounts of footage with the Beatles. And then you can choose to cut it back into something meatier. But if you've not got enough, then it's going to be lacking. You want something really, I don't know, sizable. You think of Dylan, man, that great. What was it? With No Direction Home?
Yeah.
Followed them all the way. I mean, what was that, the whole tour they followed them? I want to say, or was it just in Britain?
I think it was, no.
Because it was in Glasgow, was that where he was in Queen Street?
Yeah.
That was that
I
documentary?
Think it might have been, I'm trying to remember, it was so long ago. I'm talking 20 years ago since I saw that. But just what I recall,
you want a lot of footage.
I was just checking the sound.
Yeah,
I forgot to check earlier.
No, I changed it for sure. But there's always that doubt. But no, I'm just again reiterating, I'd like to see them capture as much footage as possible, but do it flying the wall, do it out the way, so you're not disrupting anything.
Not disrupting them. I don't think they like me on video anyway. Particularly no. He said that himself a few times in the video for whatever. He was coming back from a party or something like that, and he hadn't even got home, and they were picking him up to go in and do the video. You can see it in the video that for whatever, the black and white one.
Yeah.
And you can see him munching down McDonald's chips.
Is that free to be whatever?
He's definitely hungover.
Yeah, I think they were always hungover. Stephen, man, the last thing I would say, unless you've got anything else to add to it, I was listening, I think it was fucking Radio fucking X. I can't remember the name of the radio. I don't really listen to it. They've always got Liam on all the time. I think he was on with John Squire. They were asking him what his favourite drinks are, going to the pub and whatnot, and I was just transported back to the 90s with him. He was talking about, I like a bit of this, I like a bit of that, I like cider, I'll drink vodka, I love it. Talking about wine, how it's heavy, you need to watch your wine. I'm like, you're fucking right, Liam. Because Stephen here, many Christmases, has presented wine to me when I've already been drinking heavily. And the wine's always the one that sends you over the edge. You think, that's only a glass of wine, that's fucking nothing. Before you know it, you're absolutely steaming and you're laughing at fucking gooey cheese. So wine is a danger. But it was just great listening to him talking. I'm like, I'm transported back to the pub, man. I would have loved to have been there in the mid-90s with those guys, getting out and getting fucking rattled in a pub. It would have been brilliant just to experience it. So I'm anything I can get. Oasis, William.
Sounds like my days in the 90s. After work.
Just better times, weren't they, man? There was no bollocks. There was nothing. There was nothing like what we've got now. All the eyes on you.
Yeah.
Having to worry about pish. It was just much better times, simpler times.
Yeah. Great.
It was sunnier as well. I don't care what anybody says.
John, we're going to move on.
Sunnier.
But before we do, folks, what do you think of that idea of Oasis having a documentary, a behind the scenes look of obviously the lead up to next year's shows in the UK and Ireland? Are you looking forward to it? Have you got a ticket? We'd like to know if you're
going to you have.
if you're going to one of the gigs or not. Drop all those comments into our comments section. We'll certainly read them. Probably with any of you if you have got tickets, and we'll reply to them as well. Maybe not the way John just did, but we certainly will.
That's the way Liam would reply. He actually did. He told someone to shut up or something like that.
I've been I follow. I don't go on Twitter a lot or X a lot, but I do for his entertainment value. He's very, very good on social media.
Yep.
But we're going to move on to some box office chat, John.
Yeah.
We'll be diving into a fierce battle at the box office between two iconic franchises. Optimus Prime and Megatron may have put up a tough fight, but in the end, even these legendary robots were no match for everyone's favourite bio-exorcist. After a surprising close race, Beetlejuice emerged as the clear winner, holding on to the number one spot for an impressive 3 consecutive weekends. The spooky Warner Brothers sequel added a strong $26 million from just over 4,000 theatres, pushing its domestic earnings to $225 million and an impressive $329.7 million globally.
Yeah.
In contrast, Transformers 1, the highly anticipated animated film from Paramount Hasbro, which I think we reacted to,
We did.
fell short of expectations. Despite boasting a star-studded voice cast including Chris Hemsworth, Brian Terry Henry and Scarlett Johansson, the film only managed to bring in $25 million from just under 4,000 theatres. Internationally, it earned a modest $14 million, leading to a worldwide total of $39 million, with a production budget of $75 million and hopes for a $30 to $40 million
Jesus
opening.
Christ.
Transformers 1 has started slower than anticipated as the first theatrical animated instalment in the franchise since 1986, The Transformers the Movie. It's worth discussing whether it can build momentum and reclaim its place among fans. John, the problem with this film is, and I was just thinking it when I was reading that, was this film's probably came out a month too late.
Yeah.
The Transformers film should have been out early summer for me, for the kids.
Certainly with that dynamic, it was almost anime.
Yeah.
It was kind of different. It was an animated film, if I'm not wrong in remembering the trailer. So it was a different vibe. Wasn't the Michael Bay nonsense CGI fest, big bombast. I can't even fucking speak. Big. Let's try that again. Let's recenter. Big bombastic action. Bing bang. Fucking bing bong. Biddly biddly bong. Big bings bing. It's like a fucking kid program. Fuck me. Let's just not even get down that. You recenter and then you come back at it. Big bombastic action. Fuck you, Michael Bay. You're bombastic.
Fuck you, Peppa Pig.
Was it Peppa Pig?
Yes.
I heard the grandfather, the guy that did the voice, passed away the other day.
Right.
97, a legendary
Jeez,
voice.
Jeez,
But yeah, I digress. It wasn't that kind of Bay experience. It was a different one. So I wasn't expecting that to be this massive fucking hit at the box office. I was always anticipating it would be, oh, that's getting clicked, doesn't it? I was always anticipating that would be a lesser sort of addition to the Transformers. That's fucking right. A lesser addition to the Transformers franchise. I'm really surprised they were targeting a $30-40 million opening in the States alone. That's not something I would ever have seen them doing with that kind of film. It looked alright. It looked fine, but didn't scream to me a $200-300 million movie, which with a $75 million budget and promotion on top, you're looking at needing to make a profit. And a sliver of a profit at that. So, yeah, I'm not really surprised. Beetlejuice 2, or Beetlejuice, has outperformed it, Stephen, and it's doing really well. You look at those numbers.
Third week in a row, John. I don't know why I said this. It's a Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
It really is doing really well.
I've got an excuse, paracetamol and ibuprofen.
I think I'm just half 6 hours up, so I thought I woke me up and I was like, I've got a show to do like in 15 hours time.
Fucking hell.
So, I think it's fantastic that it's, for the third consecutive week, it's topped the box office. I didn't think, I knew it would do particularly well.
Watch it.
Just with I was tempted to go and see it this weekend, John.
Yeah, I need to watch it, man. It does look good.
Again, we talk about films coming out too late. I think this one came out quite early, considering, Halloween's upon us, but it doesn't seem to have done any damage to its box office coming out when it did 3 weeks ago.
It's doing well on Rotten Tomatoes as well.
Yeah.
77%, 81%. That's a decent film for a sequel. It's very, very decent. Clearly, they had a vision. Tim had a vision. I'm going to call him Tim because obviously I'm great pals with Tim Burton.
The Buttmeister.
The Buttmeister. He had a vision and he's seen the vision into the universe. He's brought it into the universe via Jenna Ortega and obviously Keaton and the Riders and whatnot coming back. I'm not going to call her Winona Ryder. I'm going to call her the Rider. The Riders of this world. I'm getting delirious at this point. Beetlejuice. Stephen. I don't know what the budget is for this film. I'd love to find out. Just try and get an idea of whether it's made a profit or not yet. They're going to give us a budget. They're not. I'm going to find that out.
Secret, yeah.
I'm going to find that budget out because I want to know how it's performing. $15 million budget? Are you fucking kidding? No way.
Well, I don't know, John.
$100 million
I was
budget.
going to say that, is that not the original film?
Yeah. Why they've given me that when I clearly typed 2 Beetlejuices?
I don't know.
$100 million budget.
$15 million back in 1988.
It was probably about 50, 60 million now for inflation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, $330 odd million worldwide off a $100 million
not cheap.
budget. I mean, yeah, I know. Yeah. And it still isn't. There's only about 2 studios doing it now. I think it's made a profit. So that's a great hit. I'd need to go and watch it. It's short and sweet. An hour and 45. It looks good. It's doing well.
I think it might get a second wind. But, you know,
for Halloween, I
think it will.
Yeah.
You know, I understand.
Depends on what's coming out. I'd have to check.
Yeah, well, you've got quite a few films we reacted to. Obviously, Joker's coming out, John. So I think
is that coming out this year? I didn't know it was coming out this year.
Joker's coming out next month. Yeah.
Fucking hell! Need to see that.
Can
we get a calendar here?
So I think there's obviously a reason.
Yeah,
for
4th of October.
The time, and it's a different kind of film, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not.
That's not a threat.
No, I don't think Venom. No. Paddington. I didn't realise they were doing all that. Paddington.
Paddington. Yeah. It's not Paul King, though. It's Paul King. He didn't direct Paddington in Peru. What the fuck are you talking about? What?
I don't know anything about this.
Is this a shot? No fucking way. Paul King didn't direct it. No, he didn't. No, it was Dougal Wilson. Don't ever.
He's got his name attached to that there.
He's a writer.
Yeah, story by It's based in his character.
Odin tried to trip me up there.
Yeah,
I'm not that delirious, my friend. I know Paul King's not directing it. He directed Wonka instead of it. But yeah, I mean, that's got potential, Stephen, for me, Paddington, to be one of the greatest trilogies ever. If it sticks to landing with that final movie, and I've no doubt it will with the cast and with him being involved in the writing. Don't know much about the director. I think we spoke about him at the time. It's got nothing to do with Beetlejuice. I don't know why I'm talking about Paddington and Peru. Kind of pertinent though, because they need it to be a really short second wind. Venom, I wouldn't be worried about that. It's a totally different kind of film. Obviously, Joker will be massive. It will be dominating if it's even halfway as decent. So yeah, I mean, it's got potential. I mean, it's already made really good money.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right, Steve. There's a reason they've released it where they have. It's all sort of 4D chess, where you're releasing this here because this is coming out. You have to think way out where to position the movie and what sort of movies you want to position it against to give yourself the best chance of making money, and they've done it.
Yeah. So, in terms of Transformers 1, John, I think I liked it. As I recall, I think I did think it was an impressive trailer.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's a damaged franchise, whether you like it or not. I wasn't particularly a big fan of the toys, to be honest with you, back in the day when I was about 9 or 10 when that first came out. I just couldn't understand what was, in the words of Tom Hanks' character in Big, what's so fun about playing with a building. You know, I don't get it. I don't. It's okay when they're a fucking robot, but when they're a stationary object. What? It's an ornament. I can't do anything with that.
I kind of missed an ornament. Transformers thing. I think I'm pretty sure I missed it. I was more like fucking. What was I into? Fucking Power Rangers and all that shit.
Yeah.
Looking back, I'm like, what was I into? Why?
Joe.
Yeah, I was into like the Action Men and all that back in the day. I kind of missed the whole trend. I don't think I had a single Transformers.
I didn't particularly like it, but
even thinking back, man, that shows you just how much society has changed. A dog sneezing. He's even got the sneezes now. Playing with Action Men back in the day.
Transformers film, the yellow
Bumblebee?
That was
really good, that was very good.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I was more thinking that would be along the lines of Transformers 1. That's what that would be. It'd be like Bumblebee, not like the Bay movies. I don't think Bumblebee made massive money. I'd have to check that out, but I don't think it made massive money.
It was more better received than some of those
sequels. It made fucking decent money. I'm talking shite. It made nearly $500 million. It made not bad money. Yeah. Transformers 1 would love to make that kind of money, but it's a different vibe, Stephen. It's not live action. That was live action, and it was the first after the Bay movies, and it was obviously, I forget her name who was in it. It wasn't Steinfeld, but something like that anyway. Haley something, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I always say Steinfeld. It isn't. I don't think it is anyway.
But I've got not much more to say about this, John.
No, listen, look, if I was to pick between the two, I'd want Beetlejuice to do more. It is Haley Steinfeld, I'm on the money.
Yeah.
I would prefer Beetlejuice to succeed because I prefer the original, and I love Tim Burton as a director, and the cast I respect and appreciate and have done over multiple movies. So if I was to sort of pick my horse in that particular race, it would be Beetlejuice.
No, fair enough.
So I'm glad it's won.
What's your thoughts, folks? What's your preference? Is it Beetlejuice? Is it Transformers 1? Let us know in the comment section below, and we will reply accordingly. But we're going to move on to
baked beans, big bombastic. I can see it now. I couldn't see it then.
We're going to go on to our
brain.
final topic of this evening, John. It's gaming news. We've not done a bit of gaming news for a little while, and it's something that we both do. We still do.
I've slanted it this way.
But yeah, well, I mean, the feature here is obviously it's a reader's opinion that boldly claims the current generation of gaming is the worst we've ever seen, with a sharp critique of how Microsoft and Sony are neglecting their responsibilities. The reader argues that both companies have become out of touch with their audiences, focusing more on the future consoles while ignoring the struggles of their current ones. On the brighter side, we're inching closer to the much anticipated reveal of the Nintendo Switch 2. By this time, it might have already been announced. I don't know. This news was a few days ago, I think. This was from the Metro.
I've seen it trending all the time, but I don't think it has.
Yeah, but the timing couldn't be better, as many feel Sony and Microsoft are dropping the ball, leaving a void that Nintendo seems primed to fill with its next-gen offering. Stay tuned for an in-depth discussion with us, folks, if you're still here. I'm sure this will be very interesting. John scrolling on IGN.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Nintendo Switch.
I get with the reader. It's obviously from the Metro. It's a reader that's obviously pinpointing this, and I do agree with a lot of the stuff because as a console owner of the most up-to-date Xbox series, I just feel that even the promotion of these consoles wasn't that great from what it used to be. It used to be a massive event, and I'm not saying it wasn't an event when these series came out, but John, you've kind of more switched over to PC gaming now, away from the consoles. I don't know if you still go back to console at all, but
because it's the Xbox One, probably not. I mean, I'd have to get the next gen. I really would at this point. I also had a PS4 when it was out for a brief time. I played Last of Us. Kind of wish I'd kept it because the Spider-Man game came out and it was. We'll get into that exclusives and Sony, the way they handle exclusives. I mean, if you want me to get into it just now, I mean, I'll get into it. I mean, fucking Sony.
That annoys me. Yeah.
Sony seem to have a monopoly on the sort of best. What would you call it? Developers. That's what I call them. Gaming developers. Like so, is it Lucky Dog? I mean, don't really play PlayStation games that much, so I'm not incredibly versed in the actual names of the production or the developers. I'm pretty sure it's Naughty Dog who did Last of Us, but they've got a lot of great Japanese, obviously, developers as well, being from Japan, and they have a monopoly on some of the best games that come out, and they don't share them. When they do share the likes of Spider-Man, it's like 5 years later.
I kind of get the Spider-Man thing though.
Yeah,
It's their property.
Yeah, it's their property, but Microsoft, on the other hand, they tend to be a little bit more generous. They'll buy over an Ubisoft, they'll buy over... Is it Ubisoft that make Call of Duty? I'm pretty sure it is. They're the main developers, and then you've got Treyarch back in the day, and God, what was the other one called again? The main one? What were they called? Can you remember?
Yeah, it's been a long time, John, since I played those games.
There was another one anyway, and they're the main ones.
Those games back.
They were brilliant.
They were just hilarious,
but Microsoft will buy those companies up, but they will share them. They don't really have a monopoly on the games. They tend to be a little bit more generous. Obviously, they're fucking charging some sort of fee. There's no way they're not getting something out of it.
Yeah.
But that's a big issue for me because you're cutting off a huge part of the market. You're basically forcing people to go out and spend the guts of £1,000 on two consoles so they can have all the games at their disposal. And a lot of people can do that, but most people probably can't do that.
Yeah.
So you're switching off a huge part of the market. And you're really just, I mean, from Sony, I understand it's a business decision. They want to get as much people buying their console and walking away from Microsoft. And if they think, look, we've got the best studios, the best developers, we're going to be able to attract more people to our console and play our console and put money into our business, absolutely fair enough. But it's as a sort of moral standpoint for video gamers, it's fucking terrible. If if you want something on Xbox and you want something on Sony.
This is why they need a third company in there, and Nintendo.
Nintendo have been great, man, for years. They have, in terms of graphics, nowhere near those two, but innovation and just IPs, original IPs, like fucking Zelda and Mario and all these, Donkey Kong and all these sort of things, and Luigi, all those interesting IPs have had for like 30, 40 years. They're always really colourful in the way that they think. We were talking about it earlier with the movies. You've not got, I mean, it probably doesn't convert over to Nintendo because they've got a lot of money. But if you've not got as much money as a competitor, you have to think out the box. Yeah. It's not just about visuals, it's about story, it's about other things. Playability. They always have great games. Most of the fucking games of the year have been...
was one of their best consoles in probably about 20 years, John.
Yeah, it's just the way it's innovative. You can sit, you can take it with you.
You can hook it up to the TV as well, which is fantastic. And as you said, the actual the processors that we're using in these games for such a small console is fantastic. Yeah. Graphics as well. Also, as you said, it's the Switch is like dare I say it, that this sort of generation's Game Boy, where you can take it wherever you want. Whereas I don't think Microsoft and Sony are that interested in handheld.
No,
at all. But
they tried it, didn't they? Well, Sony did. They had what was it called again? I never had it. It was decent, but also Nintendo, that's kind of their market.
Well, the thing is, I was going to say about that is that I don't think it's going to be such a big thing like it was back in the day with Sega. I think this was called the Game Gear at the time.
Is it the Vita?
And then you had obviously the Game Boy, then the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, and all the other things that came out. Lynx was one of them. I think Atari brought out as well. Now you're getting all this on this. So there's no need for these sort of PS.
It was a Vita,
Vitas.
Vitas, yeah, I remember that. I never had it. I was more like DS and obviously Game Boys back in the day.
When they realised mobile gaming is a thing, and a lot of people do use their...
I mean, I do play on the iPad. I've got Golf Clash and games like that. I do play on the iPad.
Pool and stuff like that. Pool.
So, I mean, I do game on the iPad a hell of a lot.
It's not like it was back in the day with those consoles. I was saying the handheld ones, but they do need that third company in there to sort of keep them on their toes, because I think the last sort of generations, PlayStation and Xboxes have been kind of brought out and they've not really utilised them well. They've not utilised them to their full potential. Because I've went from the Xbox One to the Xbox X series. I can't remember what one.
Series X,
Series X.
Yeah. Even the name's shit, isn't it? It's not a great name.
It does not.
It's just a fucking mic.
And I'll be honest with you, John. I didn't really see a big step up in terms of gameplay. It holds more in terms of storage.
Even the 360 into the One, man. I mean, visually, this is the big problem you've got. When I was growing up as a kid,
you noticed
Nintendo 64. I had fucking Master System, Amiga, back when I was really young. Could barely fucking understand what was happening, but I could still play it. It was like really basic keyboard, shit little monitor, TV thing. And then you go to like the PS1, and then you went to the PS2, and the jumps were massive. Had the GameCube. Never really had a Sega console, funnily enough. But the jumps were absolutely massive. Even the games, as it developed throughout the generation, you've seen it progressively getting better. That was the
thing I wanted to talk about next, John. It's probably, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think
it's
that is one of the reasons Rockstar have not released GTAs year upon year, because they know that there's not going to be much of a difference in terms of graphics and the quality of those graphics and the sort of expanded sort of world that they can build on. It's not going to be massively changed. So what they've done for the past 11 years has been add-ons to an existing game, which frustrates a lot of people, but you can understand why bring out another GTA 6, in 2015.
It's not going to be
would have been, and it's
much better.
There's not much difference, because obviously the console's capacity can't do... The games could only reflect how the hardware performs and how advanced the hardware is. So it's a game I'm looking forward to, though.
Oh, Steen, I can give Rockstar a buy, because when they do release a game that it's going to be innovative and revolutionary in some degree. If it's not story and character, just the way that it's cinematically, it transports you to that world.
Yeah.
You know, they'll be doing stuff with that. You've seen it with Red Dead.
Oh, yeah.
The world's always evolving. And the story single player mode, at least anyway, people are building railroads, they're eating food. The food is disappearing. It's a never changing world.
Yeah.
There's a level of detail that is unbelievable. The storytelling is unbelievable. Visually, incredible game. On a visual level, it's not much better than Red Dead. You know, in terms of story, it'll be more expansive. There'll be more interactive stuff going on. It'll be up a notch.
Yeah.
With Rockstar, it's more the other developers. Stephen, it's just a problem in video gaming in general now. Not just Sony and Microsoft, but PC gaming, where they've got fucking lazy. The stories are lazy. They're overly politicised. They're putting all this shit into games that you don't really want. Again, it's much like video games. You're there to be transported. I understand if it's role playing, you have to be inclusive of everyone, and I've got no issues with that. But you try to get away from all this politicised shit, and they keep putting it in.
Yeah.
But more than that, it's fucking laziness. They're not developing the games up to the requisite standard, and they're charging people to play the game, and you're like a guinea pig playing the game with bugs and all sorts of problems, and then they iron it out after it's been released when people are paying top dollar to play the game.
We've been on the receiving end of that,
Yeah.
John, and Rockstar were one of them.
Yeah,
Obviously the
online stuff, yeah. It's
with
even
GTA
worse now.
come out, but
I mean, there's like companies just releasing unfinished games
yeah.
and charging full price, and it's scandalous. And then you've got the other side of things where it's like fucking gambling, essentially, in-game purchasing.
John, I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, that game that came onto the Game Pass, Starfield, was it?
Totally forgettable.
That game has developed since its release as well, but it should never have been released until it was at a stage where it was playable and it had a bit of, I don't know, being addictive, you know, just bring you back in, and when you're not playing it, you're thinking about it. You know, I don't know if games get like that. You get like that with games, John.
I don't anymore, Stephen.
I used
tell
to
you.
back in the day.
And you know, it's interesting because I was going to bring that up. I'd love to know the age of this person that's wrote this opinion piece, because I'd be really intrigued to see if they're like in their 20s or 30s or even 40s, because I tend to find as you do get older, you've just, the attention span's not what it was. You've not got the time to be able to...
You've not got the investment you used to have, John, because you would dedicate a lot of time in Football Manager to customise a lot of stuff, as I recall.
Before you played the game.
Before you even played it. You did it with
and
FIFA as
even
well
games
for a long
like
time.
fucking, I don't know, Bioshock and stuff like that. What was the other one? Fallout. I'd spend hours in that, man.
Even
Hours and
games
hours and
like The
hours.
Sims I used to love back in the day.
hours.
I just don't have time for that.
Just can't play it.
I don't have the patience for it anymore. Or,
So it may be
yeah.
a generational issue.
be, yeah.
People are getting older.
Yeah.
But I just watch FIFA and stuff like that, and or EAFC now, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? It's just shit. Fucking Ultimate Team pish. You go onto Twitch, they're just opening packs up. It's like, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
It's fucking
I
rubbish.
don't understand all that.
It's rubbish.
I don't understand what that's all about, to be
Like
honest
10 years ago when I was like in my early 20s, I
Yeah.
was playing online. It was just playing people constantly, beating them, terrorising them, to the point where they're sending you voice messages and whatnot. You've mentally broken them. That's what I'm about. That's why I'm still attracted to Dead by Daylight. It's got in-game stuff and all of that nonsense, but it's a really simple game, and at its core, it's just about terrorising people and being toxic as fuck, and people hate it. There's a whole sub-community. Oh, it's so toxic, it's terrible, people are so nasty. No, that's what it's all about, man.
Yep.
It's about getting in there and getting under people's skin, teabagging, clicking them. It's just simple, but it's fun. And it's the same concept. It should be really boring after like a couple of hours, but it never loses.
But it's a give and take thing, isn't it? If you
I'll take it.
You got to take
absolutely.
it, and that's something we did back in the day. Certainly with Call of Duty, John. Wow, the amount of people we broke.
GTA, Stephen.
Yeah, GTA as well.
They ruined GTA.
Yeah.
After GTA, was it GTA 4?
I think they took out the sort of
The
chat.
fo-
didn't
yeah,
they?
it wasn't just that, it was anonymous in GTA 4.
Yeah.
So you could be talking, and unless you phone someone up,
That had its advantages because you could
it was
wind a lot
great
of
because
people
we
up.
were always arguing with English people and whatnot, and Americans. They would slag our accent, and then we'd change our accent to something else. You would be having conversations with people
Yeah.
mid-argument, and they were thinking, yeah, let's get into these fucking jocks. You're one of the jocks having a conversation with them. It was fucking great.
An absolute
We've just
mindfuck,
lost
yeah.
that. I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on. We've lost that.
Yeah.
It's just, gaming's not the same. I don't know
I
what's
think
happened.
it probably was a novelty factor in online gaming at that point as well, though.
I think you're bang on, Steve.
I think when we
It was new.
we played Saints Row for the very first
Yeah, it was
time. It
brand
was
new.
so addictive. I couldn't get
The
enough
pimp
of it.
suit or the
Yeah.
pimp
It
jacket.
was like a parking sort
Yeah.
of multi-story thing, and it
You
was
were on. I had the Xbox 360 before you,
yeah.
and you ended up going on Xbox Live before me. And you're like, you have to get on this. It was revolutionary.
So good. Yeah.
That was the first time we properly gamed online, and it was fresh and fucking unbelievable.
And then we moved on to Call of Duty 3, I think,
Yeah.
after that. And
Yeah.
we played that for years. I think it came out in 2006 and we were still playing it in 2012.
Stephen, I'll admit right now that was my favourite Call of Duty. It was just simple. There was none of this
That was
box,
hilarious.
drops and airstrikes and all this shit. It was just a really...
rifle.
It was a rifle and get in it. It was buggy as hell. You could fall out the map and everything. But it was just brilliant and the community was
Go up
great.
on the map as well.
I mean, people fucking, again, actually, at its core, it's just about being toxic and fucking getting under people's skin and having nemesis in the game to the point where people were coming in and shooting me in the head and leaving. And then I was following them into the other game, shooting them in the head with one shot and leaving. It was just fucking great. That's what it was about. But again, I was like 16, 17, 18 years of age at this point. This was like 2007. I was 18 years old. I'm 35. It's just different. Shit. It's fucking rubbish getting older. That's what
It's
it comes
funny,
to.
John, the last time
It's
I was
rubbish.
in Call of Duty 3 was a few years ago. And it was just to see if the servers were still there, and they were.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I was like,
it's
why
fucking great.
are they still on? But there was nobody in the games. There's nobody in the games. I'm like, why are they still existing? I couldn't understand
But
it.
there's whole communities like that, Stephen. Team Fortress, the Orange Box, I think it was. There's whole games like that where you've got devoted communities who have played the game for, what, a decade and they're loyal to it.
Yeah.
And they're just there. And then sadly, they do get switched off.
It's a shame because back in its days, heyday, you would get, I don't know what the maximum was, I think it was 16 in each team or something. It was like 32
Yeah, it was fucking
people
brilliant.
on this one little town. It's
Yeah.
just mayhem.
Getting over 100 kills every game. It was magic. Went on for like an hour.
Vancouver, BC, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he was a fucking lunatic. He was
Voodoo.
on YouTube. Yeah, that was the guy I was talking about.
He was on it, you broke, yeah.
Yeah, I broke him mentally, but I love doing that.
Yeah.
And that's what they need to get back to, Stephen. They need to get back to making on two levels, great multiplayer games where you can just be toxic as hell and it's simplistic. And in a sense, you probably got that, but then there's just all this bollocks on top of it, like Warzone, all the fucking chess and all this nonsense. It's menus within menus. Just get back to simplistic, brilliant multiplayers. And then great single player games, because when I think off the top of my head the last 10 years, I can't think of many great games. There's probably great games on Xbox, at least anyway. I know there's been some fantastic games on the PlayStation, Spider-Man.
I think I lost interest in Call of Duty. You said it was the simplicity of the game, simplistic weaponry. And then I think it was maybe Call of Duty 6 or 7, I can't remember what one it was. I think they went into Modern Warfare.
Oh, but we still had the zombie mode and stuff like that, which was great because it was
you were
simplistic.
customising your weapons. And you know, you'd have to really dedicate a lot of time to sort of find out the best sort of combo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't be fucked with that shit. Just give me a rifle.
And that's why a lot of people were attracted to the zombie mode, Stephen, because it's just simple. You've got a gun, you've got these waves of people, fucking get to it. A lot of people just like simplicity.
Yeah.
That's it. And you need to cater to everyone. And sadly,
even us simpletons,
they cater to the sort of lowest common denominator, the one that makes them the most money. FIFA, EAFC, EA in general, it's the ultimate team. Cash cow, just pish. People are addicted to it for some reason. I can't get my head around it. It just fucking baffles me. I really just don't understand it at all. Fucking women players playing with male players, it's just fucking gibberish. It's nonsense. Pish. And then in Call of Duty, it's the same thing. It's like packs and you're buying stuff to get better at the game. You fucking...
so
what's
you
the
don't
other one?
necessarily have to be better. It's just that you might have more money than your opposition.
You can still be better, but you can make the game easier by having better weapons and whatnot. And even Dead by Daylight's like that, to be fair. You can buy characters with better perks to get better results in the game. So I'm kind of contradicting myself. You need to get back. It needs to be more simplistic. More great storytelling. Xbox have to get a fucking grip and get more innovative and brilliant single player games out there, because outside of Halo, and even then it's not like it was, I can't think of any games that have come out on the Xbox in the last 6 years or something. Sony have been dancing around them, man.
Yeah.
With the likes of Last of Us 2, Spider-Man, there's been so many great games, God of War, things like that. Last 10, 15 years. They've had a monopoly. Nintendo, they do their thing and they do it really well. But just it's just too fractured, it's shite. They need to, I don't know how they get around it.
It's all shite.
It's shite. It's fucking crap. Go back to the old days, man, where it was just a free for all. Everyone could play the game no matter what.
Yep.
And it was great. Fuck it. I've not got answers.
No.
I just know it's shit.
Yeah. We kind of agree with you, though.
Shit, it is, but it's old. We're getting older. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Young people won't care about this.
No.
People on TikTok who have got like fucking Ferraris, they'll just buy all the consoles. I mean, I've got like don't know what that PC cost to build. Fucking a lot more than an Xbox and a Sony and a PlayStation. That's for damn sure. A lot more. But to be fair, that's an editing thing and everything, so it's not just for gaming. But yeah, it's just shit. In short, life's shit.
That's the best way to end the show.
Life is shit.
Yeah.
And Michael Bay's bombastic fucking movies can get him in. Oh, I love it when I get arse of it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant, man. And see, like 3 years ago, that would have killed me. There would have been no show after that. I'd have died. It shows you how much I've came along, that I could just compartmentalise that, take a step back, have a laugh, and then move on. Not Phil Neville, Gary Neville, mate.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. You taught me so much. And that little biopic thing you did, but I think it was Overlap or something, where he says a rugby player, well-known player, didn't name him, became a pundit, says don't be too fucking immersed in your ego and fool yourself and think you're perfect. Everyone fucks up, and when you do, it's those that move on that do the best in life. I'm like, you're absolutely spot on. I always glean little bits of wisdom out of things like Julian Edelman about worrying. It's like, just listening to these people, they know what they're talking about. They shouldn't, but they do. Anyway, I digress. Hrithik Roshan, he's praised Stree 2. What's your thoughts on it? Have you seen the film? Is it the highest grossing Hindi film ever in India? In a particular region, in a particular city? Maybe you can share whether that's the truth or not, because Ananya Das is not doing a great job of convincing me. I'm not really having that's grossed more money than Patan or Jawan in the last year and a half. Share your thoughts down below though on its success. Do you want to see it continuing? Do you want to see Hrithik Roshan? Do you want to see Shah Rukh Khan appearing in this franchise? Anything you want to share, put it down below. Steam's already said it. I'm going to reiterate it. Oasis documentary coming on the reunion. 3 streaming giants. Need to think of them now. Prime, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix fighting to get their hands on it. I hope Netflix don't fucking get it. Or is it Disney? I don't know. Surely Netflix aren't doing it. Netflix are shit. Why would they do a documentary? Makes no sense. Anyway, what's your thoughts? You want to see it? You're looking forward to it. Thoughts on Beetlejuice? Beetlejuice defeating Transformers 1 at the box office. And finally, are video games just shite? Now, is this the worst generation ever? I don't think it is. I think the ping pong generation was the worst, because it was just fucking basic crap. But then people would have thought it was amazing because it was the first ever video game. I still don't think it's the worst, but it's not great. What's your thoughts? Share them down below in the comment section. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyes on YouTube. Follow button, notifications button over on Twitch. That's the one. Furiously try to find the mute button and the end screen all in the one thing while talking so that this is seamless right to the end, professional. Follow notifications button over on Twitch to see us doing the exact same thing live on another platform. Why not? All that's left to be said, those until the next time, thank you for watching this, and bye-bye. I did it.